Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton, or as she's known by the people who know her best, Mama C. The show where we uniquely combine the information teens need with the entertainment teens want.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk for Real Teens. I am, as always, your host, Kim Creighton. And this week we are doing the second part of Real Money for Real Teens. This is a big subject for us, and so we're going to jump right in it. My guests today are Tara Jackson and Khalil Aziz. So you guys take your turns and share with the audience who you are.
Okay, well, ladies first, so, my name is my name is Tara Jackson. I am known as Miss Madam Money. I am the author of a book called Financial Fornication. I am the soon-to-be executive vice president of a credit union here in Atlanta, so I can go out and do what my passion is, and that's to talk to people, especially young adults and adults, about money management and credit management. So I have fun with the financial fornication when I'm talking about financial STDs, substantially tremendous debt, and trying to help people get some cures out of there. And tonight, I look forward to talking about some of these financially promiscuous people using all these credit cards when they should be using cash, and learn how to financially date. And we're going to talk a little bit about the credit score cookies, and how to keep them private. So,
oh, my Lord.
We're going to have a little fun. Yeah, I know, right? Well, you asked for it, you got it.
All
so
right,
I'm excited to be on the call, especially with my road dog. We've been together all day. Khalil, he's got a lot of.
What up, Joe?
I know, right? He must be from the South.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Khalil.
What up, Joe? What up, Joe? I am from the Great Lakes State, the great mighty state of Michigan. How's everybody doing? My name is Khalil Abdul Aziz. I am the founder and executive director of Street Credit. And what we do is we teach youth about financial literacy and empowering youth to be able to go out into the real world and take responsibility and gain some financial freedom. And so the reason I'm passionate about this street credit and financial freedom is because I had some very expensive lessons growing up. I wasn't taught about money, the rules for money, and so I'll be darned if another generation comes up again without understanding how to get financial freedom for themselves and how to establish some wealth for themselves. So we're teaching youth how to have real street credit. So let's get it.
All right, let's get it. All right, so from what I can tell already, there's some very quote-unquote provocative. Money is a very provocative topic for some reason. I mean, people will talk about sex before they talk about money.
Come on.
You'll have people will tell you all their business of who they did, what they did, and how they did it, but they won't tell you the truth that they just found bankruptcy. So let's get started on this topic and let's get real.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Financial Fornication. Like, you'll see on TV, everybody talking about who they slept with, what they gave them, who their baby daddies are or may not be, or a couple of dudes that aren't the baby daddies, but potentially could have been. But nobody want to get on TV and talk about their jacked up credit. And so a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they feel it's very intimidating. So my thing is, if we'll talk about relationships, we'll talk about sex, but let's talk about money in the same manner because we'll get that. And so, a few things that I've noticed that parents don't talk to the kids because the parents don't know. So the kids can't get the information at schools because the schools don't require it. And if they did require it, it'd probably be so boring we'd probably all fail. So it's up to us, like Khalil and myself, to make not only taking money matters or credit matters and turning it into fun, but also put in a manner that people can understand. So I tell everybody, my son is 16. He can run a credit union or a bank if he understands the information. He can make a very good decision if you understand. And so if we can provide the tools to, these young adults that are coming up here, they're going to be awesome with that. The first three things I did want to share or the first thing I want to share is stay away from credit cards. Especially when you're going into college, you know, they try to entice you with these little toys. My thing is your credit is just as valuable as your virginity. It just is.
Whoa,
now, if you don't,
nice.
Whoa.
Nice.
I said it.
Let's back up a minute.
This is a family show. This is
no, it's
she said real talk.
Hold on, Khalil. We have a mature rating on my show, baby. So we talk about whatever. So let's back up
real talk.
But I want to back up because I want to say something that might be blow Khalil's mind. We're going to make it more precious in your virginity because these young people aren't valuing that. So can we put it above that?
That's where I was going to get to. So even if you don't value your virginity, if you've already let it go, let it loose or whatever, it's more precious than that because your credit is the keeper of everything now. You can't get a cell phone. You can't get utilities. You can't get an apartment. You can't even get a job unless someone's tapping into your credit. So when you go as a high school going into college and these financial institutions are giving away toys, that's like I have to go out and say it. That's like some dude getting you a value meal and expecting you to give him some sex right after the value meal. No, you're more valuable. You're more valuable than that. And so is your credit. So I say don't give up your credit score cookies just to anybody, not for no toy. You have to establish a relationship. That financial institution needs to establish a relationship and show that they're willing to help you to the next level before you even let them look at your credit score, because that's some valuable information.
And it's really interesting because, like as you're saying, your credit follows you for the rest of your life. How many people actually remember who their first time was with? You know, it's like it's like.
Well, I remember my first time, but I ain't gonna tell you. I can't tell you about the second, third. Never mind.
I love the wordplay.
You see what I'm saying? It's like it is. I mean, people don't even remember their first time. I mean, they remember vaguely. They might remember the dude's name or the girl's name or whatever. Yeah. But this credit is gonna be with you to the day you go into you fall off this earth.
No, I'm sorry.
I think what it boils down to, what you guys are talking about, what sticks out, one word that sticks out to me just listening to you guys, even, on both sides of the coin, we talking about sex or we talking about, protecting your credit, it's delayed gratification. Delayed gratification, willing to, number one, value yourself enough to wait. You know what I mean? And that's what I heard the entire time, Sarah. That's fantastic.
I mean, it's called financial abstinence.
But
that's all it is.
But you also put it in context. But she also put it in a context that people have never heard. Because I'm gonna tell you, I haven't heard this. It is no one talks about the value of this. It's you go out. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I'm from a generation where for Christmas we got the Sears catalog. You can pick out 3 things. And that was it. And that Sears catalog was the bomb. I mean, we love the Sears catalog.
Yeah, I got that too.
These kids go get something every time they go to the mall.
No, they got the internet, so that's worse than the Sears catalog.
No, but
they got the world.
But every time they go somewhere, somebody's purchasing something for them, so they don't understand about spending, about credit, about any of that.
Well, no, what I've seen is that a lot of kids learn how to borrow before they learn how to save because they model their parents' behavior.
Yeah.
If they're borrowing everything, they're not saving anything. So if they see, well, I need to get a car, well, I need to get a loan to get a car. Well, I need to get a house. Well, I need to get a loan to get a house. Well, I need to buy these new shoes. Well, I need to get a credit card to do that. They see that, they model the behavior. And again, parents can't teach children what they don't know. And parents probably talk when watching their parents.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna tell you what we're up against too, guys, is we're up against a huge opponent, which is the media. Everyone, and not only kids, but everybody is guilty. And there was a quote that was circulating around Facebook that I had posted up. It says, "Don't spend your money, or don't waste your money trying to look rich at your wage." And so there's a huge importance. There's value behind decorating yourself up so that you look rich. You see it all the time. You see it all the time. people rushing to the store to put on some, or standing in long lines to get a $170 pair of shoes, or that sister that has to have that bag. And it's just a huge importance behind looking like you're wealthy for some reason. And I think it's going to take a huge mental shift on valuing waiting and creating a true foundation. So you ain't got to look like you wealthy or look like you got street credit. You really do have street credit all the way through the core, and you really do have value and love for yourself. So,
well, it does. I mean, when you say you don't know where it comes from very simply. We have people who we put up on pedestals or we idolize, who live a certain lifestyle. First of all, they're doing things that pay them far more than most of us would ever make in an hour or a day. So that's not even realistic. But then they're even fronting because they're filing bankruptcy.
Right. Well, let me tell you a little secret, because I deal with a lot of celebrities, I deal with a lot of athletes, and so there's a lot of people that make a lot of money that have jacked up credit. Exactly. So the lower your credit score, the more you're going to pay. So they're always going to be broke, even when they make a lot of money. And so what I tell people, you can either have a Holly Berry credit score or a Biggie Smalls credit score, because financial institutions are very, very superficial. It is all about what the credit score looks like. And so you have to think about Holly Berry. If Holly Berry walks up to a place, every man in the world is going to want to try to buy her a drink. She's going to have stuff thrown at her because she's so fine, right? So that's your high 700, 800 credit scores. Financial institutions will throw stuff at you. But because you have that score, you know that you just can't take it. Holly Berry ain't going to take a drink from everybody. She ain't going to just talk to everybody. Someone's going to have to prove themselves.
Well, also, Holly Berry's not using her credit on everything because stuff is given to her. Why would she? Just like when you see
exactly
when you're on people who on the red carpet. Those dresses
let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way. If I have a credit score that looks like Holly Berry, they're probably going to give me a car loan at 0% interest rate. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to throw stuff like that at me. But if my credit score looks like Biggie Smalls, you look pretty good with a whole bunch of money, but let's be real. So if a Biggie Smalls comes up to you and say, hey, baby, can I buy you a drink? Before he was Biggie Smalls, right? When he was just Christopher, before he got money. And he walk up to you and say, baby, can I buy you a drink? Can I do something? There's going to be women that be like, nah, that's all right. That's going to be okay. So you have to be very careful. Your credit score and your credit is just like your health. It's like your sexuality. It is like your is your virginity. It's like your virginity. If you going to give it up.
And it's harder to even, when you bring, now you're bringing up health. It's easier to get good health than good credit. People don't realize how precious. I mean, you're really bringing it home how precious that is. Because if I have a cold, I can go to Walgreens and get something for my cold. It takes a lot to get from a 500 to a 600 on the credit score.
Well,
let me ask you a question. So I like how we're associating this with. This is so real. So how do you get adults to prevent them from the temptation? Because I can get it right now. I know somebody that can give it to me right now, right? I know get them shoes right now. How do you prevent that temptation from happening? How do you keep that temptation in check?
One of the things that I talk about, my main thing is, and parents, and I just say, you know what, parents, you're not preparing your young people. And I saw this when I was teaching high school, and that's why I left teaching high school to pursue this. We're not preparing them for the real world. So what I tell them is straight out, they don't have time to play. I don't have time to be beating around the bush. I just put it right in your face. You have to deal with the consequences of your actions. Your mama ain't going to do it. Your church ain't going to do it. Your government ain't going to do it. So if you don't have those skills, it's your responsibility because they're going to hold you responsible, not your parents. They're going to hold you responsible for that. So if you don't have these skills, and I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of them don't even know what they don't even know.
Well, that's the parents, too. So they're not going to know because parents can't tell them. Well, my response.
But at this point, I take the parents out of it. You know what? Because at this point, you need to learn for yourself. So if you can listen to this show every week, and I would be damned if you walk away from this show saying you didn't know. This is the main reason I do this show. You're gonna know. Now, if you do anything about it, that's your choice. So I don't even put the responsibility on the parents anymore. They've done what they've done. You're either 16 and older at this point, and you need to get ready for the real world. So what I tell them is, this is a part of being an adult. I screwed up. No one told me. I was that fool when I first got on campus. I got an American Express with no job, and that's a credit card. That ain't even. I mean, that's a charge card.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful because what I'm seeing is if we can talk to them early and get to them early enough, we could and talk to them about if they choose to break their virginity too early and have intercourse with several different folks, how that defeats or destroys their reputation later. And I guess on the other side of the coin, talking about credit, how if they take on a responsibility of having a credit card too early and take another credit card and don't pay their bills, how that can also destroy their reputation later with lending institution when it's time to go buy a house or when it's time to go buy that car.
And it doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be multiple partners. You can hit that. You can do that Russian roulette and get that one credit card, and you got A's off the bat.
Woo! That financial STD, substantially tremendous debt.
Right, bam! It don't take more than one.
It don't take much.
Stop right. We're gonna take a break right quick and hold your tongue. We'll be right back.
You want to take your break because then I got something to say.
Okay.
Real Talk for Real Teens is having a national co-host intern search, and duties include interviewing guests, screening calls, and queuing breaks. Now, the ideal candidate is age 16 to 20, energetic, outgoing, organized, takes initiative, and is truly interested in doing the job well. But you must have reliable access to the internet and a telephone. So please send a video 2 minutes or less demonstrating why you would be perfect for this position. Creativity counts. Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton. To talk live on the air, call 347-539-5226.
Welcome back to this very lively discussion on money and credit. I want to welcome back. This is, again, let me repeat the name of the show is Real Talk for Real Teens, and my name is Kim Creighton, and today we have Tara Jackson and Khalil Aziz. Let's jump right back in, and what do you have to say, Tara?
Okay, this is coming from Miss Madam Money, because I have an alter ego, because I'm a spender. Miss Madam Money has to keep me in check every now and then.
Okay.
So we talked about a few things. One thing I want you all to understand that I think Khalil asked the question, well, how do we get people to start valuing that? Well, see, what had happened with me is that my grandfather really told me that I was his princess. He told me that I was better. I was right next to my grandmother or my mother. I was important. He loved me. He treated me like a princess. And when I grew up, I had the audacity to believe him. What happened is that at some point when I turned 14, 15, I didn't have my grandfather around a lot. And my stepfather he told me I was special. He loved me, but I didn't get that instilled in me to the point where I either forgot or I didn't believe it anymore. And so I started making, mistakes because I didn't feel like the princess that my grandfather told me I was, because I didn't hear all the time and it wasn't being instilled in me. And so when I started doing that, I started making poor decisions as it relates to my body. I had sex early. I had sex I was promiscuous at some point. And so I'm just being real and talking. It eventually, I didn't have a son in my teens, but early 22s, I had a son with a man I had no intention of marrying, and I thank God for my son, and he's the best blessing of my life. But if I had really started to believe what my grandfather instilled in me early in life, I wouldn't have made some of those decisions. I say that to say is that a lot of parents, they do not instill or there's no repetition of the value of credit and the value of savings. And so we live off of, we act upon what we learn, what we see, and what we see on a consistent basis. And so where it starts, whether it starts at 16 or whether it starts at 6 or 6 months, we believe what people tell us, especially if it's good things, especially with our parents. So if our parents, or even if we can start instilling that consistency and saying that my credit is better than, it's far more better than Ruby's. So you just can't look at what's inside of my credit. You have to earn that. You know what I'm saying? It's like right now, I'm a single parent, but my cookies are valuable. It's going to take more. It's not going to take a drink or whatever. It's going to take time, effort, work. Same thing with a financial institution. That financial institution should put work in the relationship they try to build with you, even as a student, because you are their new borrower. You are their future borrower. So they should have programs for students. They should have scholarships. They should be able to have internships. They should be able to give, because you all do the technology. They should want to hear your feedback on the technology that they use. So if they don't have services to be able to instill consistency in how valuable you are as a customer or a member of their financial institution, they don't need to be checking out your credit score cookies. They just don't.
That's right.
And that's interesting that you say that. It's interesting that you talk about that, because I thought about that some years ago when I was thinking about bringing these businesses who market to young people, who make a lot of money off young people, and I'm always thinking about the win-win. And so I thought about, you know what, all right, give these young people a credit card if that's what you want, if that's what your thing is. But tied to that credit card would be, while you're on campus, because you're already on campus, offer a free class right then. Where you sign, I'll give you a 5-hour class on how to reconcile a checkbook, all those basic things. And then let's say 6 months down the road you come back to campus and you offer an intermediate class. And then my junior year you come back and you offer an advanced class. When I'm thinking about getting a home loan, who am I going to go to?
See, that's good though. See what you're talking about. Now he's courting. That financial institution would be, in other words, courting. Taking that young lady out on a date.
That's the third phase. Yeah. That's the third phase of financial dating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but see, some of these credit card institutions, they come in a nice, small, tight dress and try to entice that temptation again. Here, take it now. Take it now so that you can buy them Jordans, or take it now so you can buy that nice bag. Take it now. You need it right now. And so that's what I want to deal with. How do we get people to change their thinking where they want to wait? They want to wait and develop a full relationship.
That's an 80-20 mentality. So we always get enticed by the 20% of what we want, but not the 80% of what we need. We always get in trouble with that 20%, because at the end of the day, we can't afford what we really need because we wasted all of our money on the 20% of what we really want, and it's because it was so sexy. It was so sexy at the time. Then we realized that sexy stuff that we bought didn't have any content, didn't have any substance behind it. You know what I'm saying? That 80% is that savings account. So when something happens and there's an emergency, or you need to go home, or you need to get some food, you have something to tap into. That 80%, but nobody wants to invest in 80% because it's not sexy. So we have all these videos that talk about sex, and women are half naked, and men that are trying to bump and grind and do all that. So everything ties to sex. And so if it's not sexy, people don't really want to do it, even though it may be good for them to do it. It's not sexy to go up in the gym when I'm 200 pounds and I'm trying to work it out. You know what I'm saying? But the person that is sexy up in there didn't go up in there sexy. They came up in there to work.
I had that conversation today with somebody. He was saying how he doesn't see himself as sexy. I'm like, dude, you keep throwing your pictures of these abs on Facebook. What do you think? People gonna, think you're sexy. He said, but I don't see myself that way. I said, brother, the reason you don't see yourself that way because you see the work you put in. A person like me, we're visual. All I see is the abs, and I see the sexy. And the reason that everybody doesn't have those abs because I don't want to do the work it takes to get all that.
Exactly. So, and my thing is that having a 700 credit score is like having that banging body. It's
I got a banging body.
There you go.
It's like having a banging body. It takes work. It takes sacrifice. It takes discipline.
But not just a banging body at 20, but I got a banging body at 50 and 60.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put it out there. I'm just put it out there since he's being real. So Khalil just got out of the gym. If y'all saw his body in the gym, y'all be like, damn. Okay, he got a banging body. You know, and I could probably have that banging body too. I could probably have it too, but I don't want to do what he's doing to get what he's got.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I can't. I was about to curse on here, but I can't.
Baby, go ahead.
Complain. I can't bitch and complain about why I don't have what Khalil has. You know what I'm saying? I'm not willing to put in the work. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's what we're talking about, Khalil. That's what we're talking about, Khalil. It's about. This is another example I use. I said, if you're an A person, you hang with A people. Mm-hmm. Why the hell you expect a B person to be attracted to you, to want to have anything to do with you? Because they dealing with B people, right?
Right.
So if you want to become a B, you got to do some different things. So it's the same thing if you're an accountant and you want to learn how to be a pilot to fly a plane. Ain't nothing wrong with being an accountant, but you can't take them same skills and fly no plane.
No.
Everybody want to be successful, but don't nobody want to put in the work.
It's not even just that. It's a different kind of work. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with being an accountant, but those skills are not going to help you fly the plane. You need to learn a whole new skill set that you haven't been taught to learn to fly that plane.
Well, people need to understand what's truly sexy. I think we got mixed up with what's sexy. Sexy ain't that chick that's half naked shaking her ass on the TV. That's not sexy at all.
Taking that
woman. Sexy is that woman that's got a job, that's got a good job, that's taking care of her business, that looks presentable, that, looks presentable, and can speak intelligently. That's sexy.
Come on.
Okay? Same thing with finance. I deal with athletes all the time. They can be fine on the outside, but I keep telling them, you're not sexy to me. You make all this money, you have jacked up credit and no savings. That ain't sexy to me. What's sexy is that you look good, you make money, you have a savings account, and you have good credit. Now, that's sexy. I need to know your number.
Well, it's
now,
also
I'll become a groupie for that.
Hey, but you know what? We got
being rail-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were you
but you know what? You know what? Well, and that goes back to that. So we got to do a better job. Man, this is so good. This is such a great conversation. We got to teach our kids how to have a fine-tuned ear and eye to be able to point out those folks that are really, truly sexy. We got to change what it means to be sexy.
And that's fundamental. That's fundamental stuff we learned a long time ago. It's about being, when people talk about good character, that kind of stuff. Birds of a feather flock together. When your parents see your friends, they like, what the? Who is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to A people and B people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna become no B.
If I'm a B, you're right. If
you
I'm a B, and I want to be an A,
hanging out with no A's. It ain't gonna happen.
But you know who's talking the loudest? You know who's appealing to the masses the most? And so we got to get those good credit people and those people that are doing the responsible thing. We got to start shining a light on these folks. And they also got to come back out and start talking about what they're doing to be successful, because the imposters that are looking like they have it going on are the ones that are loudest. They're the ones that are sticking out. Those are the ones that are in the forefront. So we got to do a better job.
But that's the whole point. See, now we getting into the game. That's the whole point. It's that fake it till you make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that whole point. When let's say if I'm in the music industry and I'm in hip hop, I'm in the rap, and I'm new out here, there's an image I got to maintain just so people can look at me to take me serious.
Right.
I might not be able to afford, and I can't afford nothing I got on.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna tell you
the record studio has fronted me all this money so I can look like this and I can act like this. I'm pretending. But it's not who I am because I don't own any of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret that I tell a few of the rappers that I've worked with. A couple of them say, I want a new car. And my thing is, you already got a car, what you need 2 cars for. They say, well, it's an image thing. I got to represent. So there's a certain image I need to project to my viewers. So one kid, you just understand that whatever they're showing you out there is not really what they're living. It's just an image. It's a facade.
It's marketing.
It's marketing, okay? And so one of them wanted to buy 2 cars. I said, well, your ass can only fit in 1 car, so I don't understand why you need 2.
You ain't got but one
What
hand.
I told him to do was that you don't buy two cars. You don't waste your money and buy two cars. You buy the car that you're going to drive. You rent the car you want to floss in because you're only going to need it for the weekend. And you save the money that you would have used, and you put that in a savings account or to pay off your bills.
And not only do you rent it, but then you use that as a tax write-off for your business because you are an entrepreneur.
You're renting it. You're renting it through your business. Your business is coming, and then you incorporate yourself. So, well, since we've gotten off on this tangent, there's two things.
Okay, stop right there. Stop. Hold your thought. We're going to go on another break. Hold it. I want to get back. So hold your thought. Okay.
All right.
New or unknown musical artists, we need you for the show. If you'd like to have your own mini concert, please send 3 original quality produced songs, no sampling, to realtalkforrealteens@gmail.com. Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton. To talk live on the air, call 347-539-5226.
Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, second part of our money episode. I have Tara Jackson and Khalil Aziz on, and
what up,
pick up where you left off.
Him and his what up, though.
Okay. I'm like, what?
And that's for my Michigan people. I just want everybody to know. Hey, what up, Michigan?
Okay.
Michigan is in the building.
There's only one person in the building from Michigan. Yeah, work that out.
Exactly.
Good job. There's two things that I want the listeners to really learn, because if you learn this now, you can be millionaires later, and sometimes you sacrifice for what you want now so you can enjoy life later, because you're going to live longer than your teens, I'm just saying. So you don't want to be 38 like me or pushing 40 and struggling. I'd rather struggle. I wish I had struggled more in my early 20s than the fact that I have to struggle now.
Before you start, can we come up with another word other than sacrifice? Because I really don't see it as sacrifice has such a negative connotation. This really isn't sacrifice, and this is laying the foundation for your life.
All right, so okay, we'll say laying the foundation. You need a strong foundation, so you lay the foundation, you do the work to lay the foundation early so you can build on your foundation and enjoy the stability of the foundation that you set early in life.
There you go.
All right, sound good? Okay, good job.
There you go.
So some of the things to lay your foundation, there's 2 principles that you really need to understand. I'm going to try to break it down to you as simple as possible. The first one is called compound interest. The second one is called the rule of 72. This is really, really cool, okay? Now, compound interest can work for you if you're earning it through savings accounts, or it can work against you if you have to pay it in loans, all right? So I need y'all to work with me now. So compound interest simply means that within a 30-day period of time or a month, whatever money that you have in a savings account is going to earn interest. That interest at the end of the month is going to be added to your savings of your principal. So say you got $1,000 in your savings account. Interest, you earn, say, maybe $10, 1%, what's that, 10%? No, 1%. So you earn 1%, so you earn $10 on that $1,000. Next month, you now have $1,010. The next 30 days, you're going to earn interest on the $1,000 that you have in there plus that $10. So then you're going to earn more interest because your money is growing, right? So that is what compound interest is. You're going to make interest on top of your interest. That works very well and works for you when you're earning it through your savings account. So you always want to do what's called reinvest your dividends or reinvest your interest, because you're going to earn more interest on that interest, earn interest on the interest on the interest, earn interest on the interest on the interest on the interest. And if you can do that for a year, 2 year, whatever, your money is going to make you money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Dollars. Okay,
Yep.
Cool. So adversely, if you have a car loan, say you have a $10,000 car loan, and so you have to pay interest. So within 30 days, you're going to have to pay interest. So that could be, say, $100 in interest that you have to pay. or even more than that. It's really more than that. So if you say you missed that payment, so now not only do you have to pay $10,000 of the principal, you now have to pay interest of $100. So that $100 added to your principal. Next month, when you decide to pay, you're actually going to pay double the interest because they're going to charge you interest on the principal and the interest. So now you have to pay more. So we compound interest as a financial institution. We charge you a compound interest on both your loans and your savings. It can be complicated, but once you learn it on the savings side, that will make your money grow very fast. So you never take out money out of a savings account. A savings account is supposed to grow, not supposed to be depleted. Okay? So if y'all need to check me out, go to Facebook. I'm Sarah Jackson Enterprises. Ask me the questions, I'll tell you. Now, the second thing is the Rule of 72. This is fun. The Rule of 72 is after a certain amount of time, you can tell when your money is going to double. Okay, so for example, you have an interest rate of 6%. You have $1,000 in your savings account. If you take the 6% divided into 72, which equals 12, right? And that means it's going to take 12 years for your $1,000 to double into $2,000 at 6% interest rate. So that's what adults do when you hear rate shoppers, the really savvy people that have really great credit. They go out and they rate shop for their savings account. They're trying to get a higher interest rate because a higher interest rate they have means their money will double in less time. So that's a fun tool. So when you go out and you look at all these interest rates on bankrate.com and you see those that are paying less than 1% or even paying 1%, that's saying that if you put $1,000 in there and you kept $1,000 in there, it would take 72 years at 1% interest for you to double your $1,000.
And I think this is where Khalil's question comes in, because nothing about that sounds sexy. Nothing about that sounds like delayed gratification.
It doesn't sound sexy until you start investing in better tools. So if you do CDs, or if you do money markets, or if you do investments, that's when it gets really, really fun. So you start learning about investments and you see the yield on the investment.
And this is where I want this show to go. And this is where I want this show to go, because what we're talking about right now, a savings account is the foundation. That's a basic. That's not. That's where that's not what we're talking about. You're gonna make all your money.
That's where you practice. Savings account is for practice.
And as I told you guys before, it's all about practice. You're young. Do it. Practice while you're not held accountable to a lot. Where it's safe to practice, you can fall on your face.
But you know what? We got to do a better job of showing the youth why they're doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, they got to. Just like I heard today, Tara, at the conference that we were at earlier. Like the kids in school don't know why they're doing math. They don't know why they're studying history and how that connects to the real world.
Exactly.
We fail. We've done a bad job of connecting the dots so that they have purpose behind what they're doing and they understand why I need to wait before I have sex or why I need to wait before I take a credit card. And so I think we have to do a better job as mentors, coaches, and parents of saying, you know how I got this car? Or you know how I got this house? Or do you know how I was able to do this and that? Is because this is what happened. This is the process that it took so that they can understand. Because just telling a kid don't take a credit card, because that's what my auntie told me. I remember I went off to college. I was in the financial aid line, and the credit card people was right there, and they was like, "Hey, here's the credit card." And all my aunt told me was, "Don't take one of those." That's all she told me, and I followed her instructions. But when she was away, and they came at me again, when that sexy lady came back at me again, I said, "Shoot, I can have that money right now."
And what you get?
I had to get the credit card. I had to get
it. You got the bag deal. You gave up the credit card.
Yeah, they gave me a pizza. They gave me a free pizza.
Exactly.
They gave
you a T-shirt that you probably don't even know where the hell that T-shirt is.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. One of the things that Khalil and I heard again is that even still, kids don't understand why they do that. And I do algebra now. I did not think I would use algebra ever in life. But I utilize the principles of algebra now, even as an adult, with my job. But still, we don't even explain to kids why they have to get up at a certain time every morning to go to school, why they have class at the same time, the same class every school, why they eat lunch at the same time, well, why they have to come home and they got to do chores. We don't even explain to them, and I'm guilty of that with my son, and it hit home today, is that we don't even explain to them why they're doing that, because if somebody understands why they're doing it, they hold value to it. The reason why, I'm not even going to call you kids, I'm calling you young adults, because y'all getting there. The reason why y'all do that is because when you get older as an adult, you're going to have to do that and be held accountable by yourself to go to work on time, wake up the same time every morning, go to work and be on time every morning. That's why you all get that tardy slip when you're late,
right,
or you don't show up,
right,
because you're going to get penalized. It's not going to be that you get a tardy slip when you get to work. You're going to be penalized in your money if you don't get to work on time. You may be penalized in your money if you miss a day of work. You go to lunch at a certain time because jobs tell you when you can take lunch. You have to be able, and that all this is doing is giving you practice for what you're going to be doing practically when you grow older. And so it's not. It may not be fun now. If it's not fun now, imagine how fun it is for my ass to get up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? It's not fun
and that's what I tell them.
And I have to.
And they get mad because they were like, well, they would come to me, Miss Creighton, Mama C, this teacher, so who gives a shit? Don't nobody care. That's how it is in the real world. You got to do what you got to do because that's what the requirements are. No one has to change their requirements for you.
You deal with crazy teachers because when you grow up, you're going to be dealing with crazy bosses. You're going to be dealing with crazy employees.
But these teachers aren't crazy. They're preparing you, giving you the practice you need for what's
it's all relative. I'm crazy. I am. Fool with me.
Well, I know I am.
You know what I'm saying? But the perceived mind
everybody's not like me.
Exactly. We might be a kindred spirit, though.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm going to tell it to you real. I'm going to, get out of my face. I don't want to hear it.
Right, but it's all for their good because it's giving them practice. If I understood why back then I would be like, I appreciate that my son will get up without me having to tell him to get up. I will be asleep, and he will take his butt out that door and get to school on time.
Because he needs to. He's at that age where he needs to practice those skills. Why is your parent? I mean, we talk about this. Why did my mama didn't wake me up? Dude, you live two houses from the school. Why your mama got to wake you up?
You got a cell phone. I bet you on your cell phone it has an alarm clock. Work it out.
Exactly. And that's what I say. Work it out. I don't have any sympathy because you rather come from me who's somebody who cares about you than somebody out there because they don't care. They don't care.
Exactly.
No one wants to hear the excuses.
Society doesn't care. They don't care that you don't save your money. They would prefer. And I'm gonna tell y'all this now. As a financial institution, the less you know, the more I make. So it's advantageous me as a financial institution for me not to educate you on financial literacy.
There you
go. It is advantageous
so it's your responsibility to get it.
That you don't
get
know
the rules
or whatever. It's advantageous for me that you don't even understand the credit score and how the credit score is.
And if you don't read what you just signed.
Exactly. It's advantageous that you don't read that credit agreement because that means I can still sue you when you didn't even think I can sue you. It is so advantageous for me for you to be ignorant as hell. And I'm going to tell y'all this now. Ignorance is not bliss. It's expensive as hell. That is my quote. It is expensive as hell. And so if you don't want to pay the price of ignorance, you've got to learn.
Absolutely. You guys are hitting it on the nail now. I'm talking about the rules for money. The rules for money. The rules to the game. This is a big game. And the only way that you're going to win the game is if you learn the rules for the game. And those who know the rules, usually win the game. Those who don't know the rules, they try to cut corners. Absolutely.
And don't get lazy. Don't get lazy and learn checkers and then want to play chess. Yeah. Don't get lazy. Because then if I play chess and you playing checkers, don't be mad because you don't say I'm
you got to be playing the same game.
You got to play the same game.
I tell you, every hand that I ask when I go into a classroom and I ask the teenagers, I say, who in here wants to be wealthy? Every single hand goes up. Every single hand goes up. But what I'm finding that they lack is they don't know how to make that happen. And we're talking about credit. Credit is an awesome tool. It's an awesome tool if it's used right. But we have to do a better job of explaining the rules for the game, the rules for the money game, so that they'll understand how that connects with them actually being wealthy one day.
We're going to take another break, but when I come back, what we're going to talk about, because I get you, Khalil, but I'm with Terry. It's time for them to take some responsibility for themselves. So while we're on this break, I want us to come with some straight talk. This is the information, boo. This is the information, boo.
They want to be
grown. What you need to do with it. Exactly. You want to be at this point, I'm giving you the information. I call it the buffet. I'm giving you the buffet. Choose what you want on there to eat. All right? Because it's not my responsibility at some point to make sure you have this. So we're going to take this last break, and we're going to give them in this last 15 minutes, give them some solid tools that they can use so they can never say they didn't know. All right? So we'll be right back.
If you're a young person aged 16 to 20 who's doing something great in your community and you'd like to be featured on the show, please send that information to realtalkforrealteens@gmail.com. Welcome back to Real Talk for Real Teens, hosted by Kim Creighton. To talk live on the air, call 347-539-5226.
Welcome back to the last bit of Real Talk for Real Teens this evening. My name is Kim Creighton, your host, and I have Tara, Tarra Jackson, Miss Madam Money, and I have Khalil Aziz, Khalil Aziz from Street
That's
Credit.
That's his new middle name.
Exactly. Khalil, what up, though, Aziz?
What up, though, Aziz? There you go.
All right. So, Khalil, like I said, on this show, you know what? I let them crawl, but they need to learn how to walk. So it's not about what we need to. We're taking on that responsibility. Just like you said, we need to do a better job. We're doing a better job right now. So what do we need to tell them? What do they need to know, guys?
Go on, Khalil. I'll let you go first.
Well, what they
let you go first, boo.
I guess the biggest takeaway, if I could connect with one person that's listening right now, the biggest takeaway, the whole purpose of financial literacy is so that you can learn the game and the rules for the game. So that what can you do with that? After you learn the rules, you want to win the game. So credit, we've been bashing credit a little bit, but at the same time, credit, it can be a tool to help you with the ending result, which is to become financially free, right? And so if I could touch one person today and let them know that they have to shift their thinking about wanting it right now. A lot of people are purchasing cars, clothes, shoes, and these are all liabilities. They don't create any more money for you. Once you purchase that.
What do they need to know, guys?
Go on, Khalil. I'll let you go first.
Well, what they
let you go first, boo.
I guess the biggest takeaway, if I could connect with one person that's listening right now, the biggest takeaway, the whole purpose of financial literacy is so that you can learn the game and the rules for the game. So that what can you do with that? After you learn the rules, you want to win the game. So credit, we've been bashing credit a little bit, but at the same time, credit, it can be a tool to help you with the ending result, which is to become financially free, right? And so if I could touch one person today and let them know that they have to shift their thinking about wanting it right now. A lot of people are purchasing cars, clothes, shoes, and these are all liabilities. They don't create any more money for you. Once you purchase that, that's money out your pocket. But what good credit will do, what good street credit will do for you, is it would allow you to go to a lending institution when it's time to buy a house. And now you can be lent money at a very low cost and get an asset for yourself so that way you can make more money. And that's the whole purpose of creating good credit, so that way you can go get money so that way you can reinvest into an asset that can let's say you want to buy a house and rent it out, or an apartment building and rent it out, or you want to buy a car and deliver pizzas, or whatever it is that you want to do, good credit allows you the flexibility to be able to get money, use other people's money at a very low cost so that you can buy more assets so that you can create more cash flow. And so that's why it's important. Go ahead.
I'm glad you hit on that because you said something twice. You said about money going out, and then you said about using other people's money. Because people normally think of money going out, that's a liability, but they only think of money coming in as an income. And what we're going to be talking about in future shows is if you have good credit, it doesn't have to be your income, and it probably will not be your income that's going to get you to the level of wealth.
Oh man!
Unless you're an entrepreneur. Unless you're an entrepreneur, your income is not going to normally get you to a level of wealth. So you hit that nail right on the head. It's you know, even if you're going to buy those liabilities, use somebody else's money. And we're not talking about credit cards.
Right.
We're talking using somebody else's money.
But you all have to, and I'll wait my turn, but
No, go ahead. Go ahead. There ain't no time. Ain't no time on this show.
Hold on a second. Kim, you said something. And I want before it leaves, I just want to illustrate the value of that. I mean, a lot of people are paying for other people's college tuition right now. I know folks who have bought a home with their good credit for their child and have rented it out. And that monthly rent that someone else is paying living in that home, guess what? Their child's college tuition is being paid with that monthly income.
Exactly. And that's what I want to talk about. And that's what I want to talk about because they don't understand. It's all everybody talks about is my job, my income. There's other ways to get there. But go ahead, Sarah.
Well, there's three things that I want to, listening to Khalil, that I tell people about. One, I taught my son very young about the difference between asset and liabilities. I do want to tell everyone listening here, and I don't have a problem saying that Miss Madam Money said that schools lie about what an asset and a liability is. An asset is not a house. It is not a car. It is not stuff if you still owe something, okay? If you, for example, the home that I thought I owned, the bank owned it. They just let me live there as long as I paid them the rent, which was the mortgage. And so that was a liability because it took money out of my pocket. So as long as I was paying mortgage, insurance, taxes, utilities, that was a liability. So my home was not an asset, regardless of how much equity may or may not have been there, if I did not own it. Now, if I had the property, and like Khalil said, I had someone that was renting it from me, and they were paying me more than my mortgage, and I was getting income. Now that property is now an asset. Because it's making me money. It is turning it into income. An asset turns whatever it is into an income. If you have to spend, for example, I tell my son all the time, is that your game, your PS3 or your whatever game is not an asset. It is a liability. Because you have to continue to purchase games to play it. It is not now. If you rented it out and you had your friends come in to play on your game and they charged them $5 and you got some income, now that baby's an asset.
There you
go. Know what I'm saying? So my thing is learn how to turn your liabilities into assets or avoid liabilities. Or if you're going to get a liability, figure out how it's going to turn into an asset for you. So don't believe that that car that you drive, and if you have a car loan on it, that is not an asset. That is a liability.
That's right.
So if you don't own it, it's not
That's key.
And you know that. And you know that because as soon as you stop paying that bill, they coming to get their asset.
I'm coming to take your car. And I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna pop your shit. That's what we say. I'm gonna pop your car. We don't want the car, but if you don't pay me, I'm taking the car.
I'm taking.
Show me a person with a whole bunch of liabilities, and I show you a broke person. I don't care how much money you make. If you ain't got nothing but cars and jewelry.
There's a lot of
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed.
And Mercedes, they ride in BMWs. A lot of
and that's the conversation. That's the conversation that needs to be had, because again, these young people, I mean, even older people, they seeing look at that, that's that, and you have no idea what their foundation looked like. Oh my God!
They got a nice car, but their house is getting foreclosed on.
Exactly.
On the other side of the coin, show me a person with more assets than liabilities, and I show you a wealthy person. And so that's what we gotta get our kids, our youth, teenagers. Listen. Buy more assets, but you got to know what an asset is. Sarah just described to you. A lot of folks thought, I bought my house, so now I got an asset. No, that's not necessarily an asset, because you're paying out. You got to pay for heat, water, mow the lawn.
I'm about to hit you with something that's really a taboo. Okay, I'm just about to hit you with that college diploma is not an asset until you're making money on it. It's a liability.
Right. I'm sorry. My college degree is not an asset because I owe $80,000 in student loans.
There you go.
And I'm still paying that shit back, and I'm bitter.
Come on.
So
exactly.
My college
pissed
degree is
off
not
about
my
Sally Mae.
asset.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have 2 degrees.
He's a player.
I have 2 degrees.
Sally Mae is a player.
I have 2 degrees.
So check it out.
It's not an asset. It's an asset
so check
now
it out.
that I have a business.
Yeah.
Look, we only got 8 minutes.
So
I got 2 other things to say. I'm just saying.
Hold on. Let me say this. So we was talking about credit cards early. So if we can shift our thinking about assets and liabilities and wanting to get more assets. Now, listen up, young folk. If you have a credit card and you're buying an asset with it, it could be good debt for you. And I guess that might have to be another conversation.
Well, that's another conversation. I can tell you how that be. We're going to have another call because I can tell you how that can work for you.
We're going to have a part 3.
Okay.
But I wanted to throw that college thing out there because everybody talks about college. Baby, if you ain't going on a whole scholarship or somebody else's scholarship where they're paying, because, again, that's using somebody else's money for your asset. It's a liability.
Come on.
Let me tell you this real quick. Because you're about to cut me off, okay? So I need y'all to understand, we've been talking about the good and bad things about credit, and I need y'all to understand that credit is good. Credit is good. Just like, okay, parents, watch it, close your ears. Just like sex is good. Sex is real good. Sex is good when you are mature. Listen, wait a minute. When you are mature, when you are responsible, and when you are with someone that cares about you and is trying to do a future with you. Sex can be very good, but sex can be deadly. It can give you AIDS and it can kill you. Okay? It's the same thing with credit. Credit is good. It is really good as long as you are responsible, you are mature, and you do it in a manner with a financial institution that cares about you and your well-being. But credit can be very deadly. You can go into so much debt. There's people going into so much debt that they're killing themselves. They're killing their families, or they're stressed out about debt and having heart attacks. It can be just as deadly. So just as sex is really good and can kill at the same time, so can credit. But you have to be mature and you have to be responsible with what you do and the decisions that you make when you're using it. It's like giving a 5-year-old a pistol and telling the daggone kid not to shoot it and to don't kill yourself. If they don't have the wherewithal to understand the responsibility, if you don't understand the magnitude or the significance or the value of your credit, do not pull that trigger. Don't do it.
That's right.
Just don't do it. And what if young people, you all were the lender? Do you know how much money we make as a financial institution by lending to you all? We make money. That's the number one way we make money is loan interest income. What if you saved up your money and you were able to borrow from yourself, or you were able to lend to others? Because the Bible says to be the lender, not the borrower. So sometimes if you just save up some, you can borrow from yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm off my soapbox. I think I got that.
Well, I mean, we have 2 minutes left.
Just know, teenagers, adults, anybody that's listening, you have to shift your thinking. If you really, truly want to be financially free and wealthy, you must accumulate more assets than liabilities. Easy definition. Liability takes money out of your pocket and does not make you any money. Assets makes you money. So if you change your thinking and buy more assets that creates more money, like I said, create. You don't go earn it. You don't have to earn it. You can create money when you buy assets. But if you're spending your money on liabilities, I guarantee you will be broke, hungry, naked, and out of doors. Paycheck to paycheck to paycheck is how your lifestyle will be.
Invest in more assets, you will be wealthy. Invest in liabilities, you will be broke. That's all I got to say. Street Credit, www.streetcreditinc.com.org. I'm sorry. Streetcreditinc.org.
Okay, and then, kids, tell your parents that Madam Money's doing a financial boot camp, and, they can get some more information at mmsbc2013.eventbrite.com. That's mmsbc2003.eventbrite.com. And so we're going to be talking about this on the parents' level, because parents need to understand this. You know what I'm saying? And you kids can help your parents understand it as well. Y'all can find me on Facebook. I'm Tara Jackson on Facebook. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm at MS Madam Money, so that's Miss Madam Money. So, connect with me, ask me questions. I got you. If you say that you heard me on this show, I got you. I'll